Hello everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mr. Happy Mondays, the weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. Got a little bit of a clean shave and a clean haircut this week, so excuse me if I'm feeling myself a little bit as I stare at myself in the camera right there. Some feedback from last week. Didn't like the floating head in the middle of the background. I've changed the background. The background is something I would like to change dynamically depending on recent content that's come out, or like for example, this is a Blade and Soul background that you're seeing right now. But I'm going to blow myself up to the full size of the screen. I actually want to go and look back at the September video, because the last time I was in Los Angeles, I found a pretty good formula for it that a lot of people liked. And it's my own ignorance that I haven't just replicated that formula. Instead, I'm just kind of reworking things as we go right now. But the biggest thing from last week's feedback was that didn't like me just floating in the middle, as much as it made sense with the question at the bottom, or with the video thing at the bottom. You know, it just doesn't make sense before that point. So first and foremost, let's start with the videos. I'm actually just gonna do them on, what is it, the right, this side, like right here-ish, you know, right there. So we're just gonna do that right there instead of doing them under. Maybe I'll find some sort of formula, maybe just do it in the corner. But of course, I'm always taking feedback with this. This is obviously still, despite the fact that I did it back in September, is still new ground to do this whole green screen thing. So I just want to figure it out, so what's best for you guys. So hopefully you enjoy it. It's been a pretty good week. Here in Los Angeles. I went to my first wedding, which by the way was fucking awesome. So let me explain a few awesome things that happened. For one, the bride, who was one of my girlfriend's friends, you know, longtime friend, she came out to Kingdom Hearts music. And I also heard some Final Fantasy X music while I was there, so it was a nerd wedding. It was also very small, which made it very easy to take it all in. And also, then I realized the dog's name was a corgi. It was Kyrie the corgi. All of a sudden, it all made sense to me. It was a really cool wedding. You know, very very simple. And eventually, we got to the cake, and there was bacon chocolate cake. I know it sounds disgusting. I was thinking in my head, like, I have to try it just to know. But it was probably the best cake, or at least the best flavored cake I've ever had before. Chocolate cake in the middle with the frosting, double layer, and then just, you know, fresh bacon on top. Oh, so good. It was so damn good. If you ever have the chance to make a bacon chocolate cake, oh my god, do it. On top of that, Blade and Soul Early Access began. That's why we have the background right now. And outside of queues for Mushin, I regret picking that as my first server because it was the server everyone tried to go to, and some people got stuck in queues for like 20, 30 hours trying to get in there. If you picked a server that wasn't Mushin, smooth launch. Some issues with Windows 8.1 and Windows 10, but you'll be seeing quite a few more videos on Blade and Soul now and over the course of the next several months as more content patches come out. I'm just enjoying my time there. I mean, here's the thing, I've been enjoying my time in a lot of MMOs lately. Guild Wars 2 is one I'm probably going to revisit again next month because they have a content patch coming up. We had Devilian, which I kind of regret not being as into right now because of Blade and Soul being out, and on top of that, just trying to catch up and get ready for patch 3.2 and 14. I don't know, like, I'm just feeling Blade and Soul kind of like I feel Final Fantasy 14, but I don't know if that's going to, like, be something that's super long-term. But I've been enjoying it thus far. So if you have any questions about Blade and Soul, of course, Monday video, always open for that stuff. You guys know it's not just Final Fantasy 14 videos. You can ask me here. You can ask me a bunch of different types of questions here. So on that note, we've got the videos. We did the video on the right side. Let's get into the questions this week, shall we? Alright, so, first question. Hello again, Mrhappy. I hope you had a nice weekend. I did. It was a good weekend. Thank you for asking. Hopefully you had a good one as well. This is my question. What are you expecting, I like that, from the Warring Triad? Do you think it'll be something kind of similar to Ramuh, a deep insight lore, talks, probably more info about ancient pre-Allagan eras, maybe a reason why the Allagans captured them, etc., or hey, I'm powerful and evil, wahaha, I'm going to destroy everything without any questions? I think it's going to be the most enriching story that we've seen from Primals pretty much since Ramuh. I mean, Ramuh was one of my favorite incorporations. That's my least favorite story patch, is 2.3, but Ramuh had the best sort of addition to the main story. Shiva was alright. Iceheart's initial appearance, while it was kind of like, it was a bunch of questions, it wasn't really that epic, and I got the itchy nose. It happens like almost every episode. I think it's just because I talk. I think it's going to be very, very deep. I mean, this whole, if you look, it has its own quest line in the journal. The Gods of Eld is the quest line for the Extreme Primals. I'm hoping that's going to be expanded upon in the as we start going through the Warring Triad. I'm expecting we'll fight Sephiroth the Fiend first, then I can't remember if it's Zelwyn or Kellen. I think it's Zelon or Zelon or something like that, which is the demon, and then Sophia the goddess. And then I don't know what 3.5 will be. It's not gonna be Kefka. Guys, it's not going to be it's gonna end up being Kefka, and I'm just gonna go, ugh. Please don't let it be Kefka. I'm really interested because hopefully it means we learn even more about Meracydians. Like, Bahamut speaks a lot about Meracydia in the Binding Coil, but these are different pieces of Meracydia that aren't just draconian in nature. So it has a lot of enriching lore, and one thing that Heavensward has been doing so well is the lore. Like, if you pay attention to it, there's so much of it there. You can ask this about that. So I'm expecting it's gonna be pretty satisfying of a quest line, and I'm really looking forward to it. Next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. Hello. Here is another important question. What is best in life? That's a tough thing. There's a lot of right answers to that. There's not just one right answer to that. There's a lot of right answers to that. There's good food, there's love, there's video games, there's, you know, your career, there's... Okay, that's not always great for everyone, but these things add up. What's the best? 42. You know what? I'll just answer that. 42 is the best in life. That's the answer to life. Now it's also the best answer in life, to life. I don't know where I'm going. Let's move on to the next question. Alright, one thing that's definitely going to have to improve for next week is the question box. Because I had to shrink it a little bit in between the last question, because I looked over and I'm just like, huh? What? I'm just like leaning, my face is half in it now. The font's kind of small and it's hard to read, so I'll work on that for next week, guys. Don't worry. Next question. Hey, Hap, today I would like to have your opinion, advice. Sure. It's a little personal story, so pre-reading will be hugely appreciated because I don't feel that it fits in this video, but you'll be the judge. Well, by that, I'll start reading it. If it's something I feel doesn't need to be in the video, I'll cut it out and just do my answer and paraphrase it for you guys. So let's see what we have here. Spoiler for Haydn. Oh, man. That is a long, long story. Alright, so I read the story. It was insanely long, so I figured I'm just going to cut that out. I paraphrased a lot. Paraphrasing, got into a disagreement about with some guild members, got a very hateful message from one of them about their mannerisms, just so we can clarify. I'm not going to go too specifically into it because I would have to tell the whole story if that was the case. But TLDR, should I come back to them and claim I want to retain balance by peacefully rebuilding these friendships? Or should I try to evade every contact with them and drown in lonely desperation? First of all, I don't think you have to make this claim to retain balance by peacefully rebuilding friendships. You just need to pick the people who, or talk to the people who are your friends, and that's it. Don't worry about the person who sent you the hateful message. Worry about the people who are still talking to you, and keep talking to them until you hear otherwise. Don't try to evade contact with them, because that doesn't solve anything. If you're a friendly person and you get along with them, then that's all that it needs to be. You don't need to worry about the one guy who said, oh, people, you know, I hate you, other people hate you. First of all, unless somebody else tells you that, don't listen to them, because that can ruin friendships real quick just by listening to the one person who had a problem with you. Definitely just stick through what you're doing. And you don't need to make this whole claim that you want to retain balance. Just talk to the people who you are balanced with. And don't worry about pleasing the one person who just, you know, whatever the reason is, can't stand you. If they put you on their blacklist, then they can't see your words anymore, and it shouldn't bother them. So hopefully that helps, and hopefully that was the correct answer to the situation. I'm hoping I understood the situation properly after having read it. Alright, next question. Hi, Mr. Happy. XD face? Is that like X? There we go. Okay, straight to the point. Astros are more fitting to substitute to a white mage than a scholar. This is true. I main white mage, and I'm worried that if they buff Astros and, let's say, make them OP, which Yoshi P said he doesn't want to do, and that would be the easiest way to make them strong, no one would take me for progression for the next patch. Do you think I should practice my Astro more at this point as a safety net for the next patch, or do you think that's unnecessary? I think it's unnecessary. White mage scholar have just gone together so fucking well all this time. I don't see a buff to Astro making people go, no, I don't want white mage. Like, white mage is fucking white mage, alright? That's like, not since Final Fantasy 1 has anyone ever gone, nah, no white mages, unless you're doing like a special challenge. It's always like, white mage, yeah! You know what I'm saying? So I don't think you need to be worried about anything. I don't think it's necessary. I think it would be good. I think it's a good idea just to practice it, because what can that really hurt? You just having two jobs that you can play interchangeably? There's nothing wrong with that, just not for the reason that you're saying, just because you're afraid you'll fall out of relevancy. I don't see that happening with white mage, it would take so many things for Astro to be just flat out better than white mage, and then it would just happen the other way around, and you'd basically just be following flavor of the month. So I think it's unnecessary. I don't think that what you want to do is needed. Next question. Hey, Mr. Haps, have a handful of grade 5... Thank you, the Lord. You just saved me so much money with that, Serene. Thank you. Here we go. With patch 3.2, we are going to see the introduction of new tomes. Tomes of whatever. Transcendence seems to be one of the terms going around from the recent translation. How do you think this is going to affect the Anima Weapon quest? Do you think that they will combine Law into Oh yeah, all of the items that you can buy with Law now, you'll be able to buy with Esoterics. Except you'll be spending less Esoterics than you were with Law. That's gonna happen. I would be so surprised to see it happen any other way. Of course, they're going to remove the 450 limit, let you buy, yep, pretty much. They just will reduce the price by telling a new 60 player that they can buy either upgrade parts for this new weapon or new gear that they gain. It's kind of rough. No, it's worked perfectly fine in the past. I don't see it being an actual issue, especially because the Anima weapon, getting to the I-200 one is important. There's going to be other ways to gear up. You're going to have dungeon loot being a little bit more relevant. You're going to have the new Alexander normal being relevant, so I wouldn't be concerned about this as well, I wouldn't be concerned about this at all. The thing I don't see them removing yet is still Poetics. I don't see Poetics going away until 4.0, to be honest. I used to think they would be gone a long time ago. I think Poetics are going to stick around for a pretty long time. I think that if they're getting rid of Law and make balancing tomes given out, I still think they should stop making new tomes. I think they should have just stuck with Philosophy, Mythology, and then just... I don't know. And maybe a third one, and then whatever was after that. I don't remember what was after... Mythology. It was Soldiery. It was Soldiery after that. Having those three and then just like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think they need to. Oh no, that's what I know. You add on at the patch. You add whatever the capped tombstone is. You add that to the uncapped ones, and you just reset it to 0. And they don't have, and they just don't have that anymore. I think it'll be so much easier than constantly needing to rename tombstones. I mean. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I don't think they need to keep making new tombstones. They could just be pushing the capped tombstones into the uncapped ones and then adding new rewards for the capped ones. I don't know. I personally think that would be easier. Next question. Oh my god, it's a long one. Hey, Mr. Happy, have a bag of cookies if you're not on a diet. I just said Mexican food, but I didn't eat that much. Okay, I ate a little bit. My first question is, does Square have any idea for side content in 3.2 and beyond? Oh, I'm sure they know everything they're going to do up until 4.0. With the diadem having moderate success and Lords of a Million having less, have Yoshi P hinted at ideas for future for content that isn't story quest raids and dungeons, or are they just going to work on fixing? So 3.2 is the feast, PvP content. I know that's not always, like most people go, I'm not big PvP, but that is side content, and PvP is a community that's been growing a lot actually with the recent lack of PvE content. A lot of people have been going, let me try out PvP, and it's been seeing greater success and a lot more, it's been getting a lot more noticeable. So I'm actually thinking that 3.2 is going to really revitalize the PvP community, and especially because it's finally going to be a piece of PvP content other than the original Wolves Den, which isn't locked behind the Grand Company. I think that's going to be a massive thing that's going to bring it into a lot of success. I think people are also going to enjoy the Hall of Novice, at least for a little bit, and the Diadem is going to be getting some massive changes and should see greater success, as well as the new Diadem in 3.3, the final Diadem in 3.5, and on top of that, I don't know what else they're going to do. They have more plans, though. They definitely have more plans than what they're showcasing to us now. Second question is a bit longer, so I'll TLDR it at the bottom. I appreciate that. I'm going to go straight to the TLDR, and if I need help, I'll scroll back up. So where is it? Here it is, Bolden. TLDR, a leveling area, 90-minute time limit. Level synced, mobs respawn tougher than can only be accessed once a day. A way to level? Ways to level are always good. I mean, I know I spoke about the EXP parties last week and how I'm not really a great fan of them and how I don't understand how it's that much different from doing something else, but it's another way of doing it. Ultimately, if they want to appeal as many different leveling options, the problem is the one that's the best will still always reign supreme. That is, people will always take the path of least resistance. So balancing those things is tough. Fates and dungeons have a pretty decent balance right now. People can do some fates while waiting for a dungeon, or they can spam dungeons and they'll just be good to go. Whereas there's some things that are less balanced, like the challenge log isn't as balanced, the hunting log doesn't really exist after level 50, it doesn't exist on the new jobs. So there's some things that could still use some work, more balancing of the leveling process to more variety. I feel like it's got a good variety, just the variety that it has is not as good as the original two options. I would like to see some more expansions on that. And if this is something people want, sure. If they want to do something like this where it's literally just you go grind enemies for 90 minutes, get all the experience points, and it's like just dungeon experience points, but you can only do it once a day, and it's like got a daily bonus on top of that, people would jump all over that probably. 90 minutes is a little bit steep. I would probably go for a shorter period of time, probably 30 minutes as opposed to 90, but sure, why not? Like, what's the harm in it, right? That's how I think. That's how I feel. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy, New Year bonus, a bag of animal weapons. Just imagine opening a bag full of animal weapons, just like... It just looks like I'm looking at my penis. Anyway, what do you think about people using the word toon for the MMO characters? Now, this is actually a good question because I think about that quite frequently. I did that in WoW. That's the only game I ever did that in. I am disgusted by it whenever people refer to the character as a toon. I feel like investing in the characters, especially in 14, the characters become an extension of one's character. Well, okay, see, here's the thing. Everyone has a different way of sort of... The role-playing game doesn't always actually mean they are role-playing and they treat their character with that much level of respect. And it's an RP thing, you know? Like, most people, like, I am playing the game, this is the character I created for it. Not, I am this character and this character is an extension of me. Just like you're disgusted by that, there are people who are equally disgusted by people who take that seriously. So it's really just two separate sides, and you guys just, and it's just a disagreement. You guys just have different values on MMOs and on the characters that you create for that. And that even could go for single-player RPG. Some people don't give a shit. Like, I don't care. When I make a character, I make a character. It's whatever. That's why I'm comfortable calling my characters in World of Warcraft a toon. And it's also a very common term. So it's something that's easy for other people to understand, whether they like it or not. They know what I mean when I say it. So that's the thing. It's just a difference in playstyle. And it's just a matter of respecting that not everybody has to feel the same way about their character. It's pretty important for the health of games for people to accept one another, as hard as that is to do on the internet. Next question. Hello, Happy. First time asking, long time watching your content. Love the work and keep it up. I can give a poetic bonus to your all to help with that grind. Thank you. That's all I can say. And welcome, of course, to the show. My friend who ran an expert roulette the other day as a healer was harassed and called a horrible healer because the DPS weren't liking the way she wasn't going all out DPS to kill the mob faster while she was focusing on healing, keeping the tank above 50%. We later found out that the two DPS were from Gilgamesh. Question is that we're from Balmung. Why is it that a hardcore raiders feel like they need to pressure the more casual players in playing into their playstyle? I personally feel like harassing someone to play at your speed is wrong on any level. I agree. But I do feel there is much more tension from hardcore players than So let me just say this. I play with a lot of really hardcore endgame people, right? A lot of the time, they will just speak to themselves and the other hardcore people. Oh man, this healer's not DPSing. But they're not going to go out of their way to harass the healer because they just want to get the dungeon done. They're not, like, that's it. As long as the dungeon is getting done and it's somewhat, they're more concerned about the DPS that are doing, like, nothing. That are doing, like, 400 DPS. That concerns them more than the healer not putting out 500, 600 DPS at the least. So most of the time when you say these hardcore players, yes, Gilgamesh is a hardcore server, but most of the hardcore people don't give a shit about what everyone else is doing. They just want to get through it as fast as possible. What can I do about that, right? So, honestly, I wouldn't consider them hardcore. Like, yeah, some hardcore people are very vocal, and they like to put other people down. That's more of a personality thing. They don't even have to be hardcore. There are casual people who put other people down like that. So, I wouldn't make that distinction, but I do agree. It's not great to try and force your playstyle on other people. It's another thing if someone's, like, you see a black mage that's just casting, like, Fire and Blizzard 1 to switch between forms. You're not enforcing a hardcore playstyle to them. You're trying to help them play their job properly so that other people who are far more vocal, as long as you're approaching them correctly, don't harass the shit out of them. That matters a lot more to people. But, I mean, there's no point in saying you have to play at my speed. You ask people, hey, what speed are we comfortable playing at as a group? And the problem is when you're with random people, it's not, your ideals don't always match. It's just a matter of if the person is super vocal and super passionate about it, or they're being an asshole about it. It's a matter of which is which. So I don't think it should be forced. It's going to happen though, and you just deal with it. Just say, fuck it. That person was an asshole, and you move on with life. You can't let it bother you. You can't let it bog you down. You gotta stay positive. High five. I said high five after I high fived. Like, too late. Next question. Hey, Happy, quick question for you. Nice. Do you think we'll get another fight like Turn 7 in Midas or other bosses in 3.2? Turn 7 was my favorite fight in all of Coil, and we haven't had another fight like it in quite a while. I heard somewhere that they won't ever make a fight like that again. The only fight they said they'll never make again, they won't ever make a primal, or they say they won't ever, we can at least not expect it for the remainder of 3.x, another primal at the difficulty of Thordan. That's what they said. Specifically a primal, an extreme primal that is as difficult, or what some people would consider as difficult as the Savage tier raids. They are just going to be, they're meant to be a stepping stone to get into Savage tier raids, a way to test your knowledge and your mechanical skill. So that's what they meant. They never said they'll never do a fight like Turn 7 again. And Turn 7, honestly, not that special of a fight. It was definitely a fight that surprised a lot of people back in the day. But if you look at the mechanics there, they've been done over and over and over again at this point. And to be honest, Turn 7 is nothing special. I mean, basically, the last boss of Void Ark, basically is Turn 7. Like, it's got fireballs, it's got petrifaction, just doesn't have the voice and the shriek and the renauds. Like, it's not a crazy fight. It was just one of those fights where it was like, I swear to God, if I got petrified again, I'm going to leave this group. That's how so many people. That was the raid breaker of Second Coil, was Turn 7, and it was fucking hilarious. I wouldn't be surprised to see another fight like that, especially if the difficulties between Second and Final Coil, that's prime candidate for Turn 7 fights to return. I don't think you're never going to be surprised by those same mechanics. You're basically just asking for a fight that surprises you. Not so much a fight like Turn 7, because then you'd be like, well, this is just like Turn 7, so they just copy-paste. No ideas. So, we'll see what they do. I'm expecting some pretty cool fights in Midas, though. Next question. Hey, Mr. Happy. Hi. I am in the process of getting my first set of crystals for my second anima weapon. Only cashed in my Zeta for the first one. I am also trying to level up 3 tanks at the same time. I was successful in getting 3 crystals in Corthus, but now I have those 3. I need to move on. I tried farming for crystals in the remaining 4 lands, but either my accuracy or DPS was too low for me to get a high enough rating. So it sounds like you're trying to level not in a Fate party. That's your first mistake. TLDR, what do you think are the recommended minimum levels to farm crystals? If you are in a Fate party, Gervanian 4 lands, I guess I don't know what level your characters are. It sounds like they're in their upper 40s. They gotta be. Or in their low 50s, like 50, 51. And even then, that should be fine for the Gervanian 4 lands. I've seen people do Azus La at level 50, but they mostly do that on healers, because that's really easy to get credit on those. I think that after you get out of Corthus, you got to be a little bit more careful. Gervanian 4 lands, you can get away with being a little under-leveled. As you move further and further up, you basically, if you're not part of a big Fate train, then it's not as successful. You know what I'm saying? You kind of need to just start saying, you know what, I gotta either decide. I'm either gonna do my anima or I'm gonna level. You can't always kill 2 birds with 1 stone with that one, especially if you're just going slow in both of them because of your decision. I think at this point you just need to make a decision which one matters more to you and do that. PS, can't wait to see Sly in his Dooku outfit at FanFest. Yes, we'll make sure it happens. Next question. Hey, Happy? How you doing? I'm doing alright. How you doing, man? How the fuck are you doing, my man? Congratulations on hitting the level cap. What? Guess what game I'm referencing? I don't know. Real life? I don't... Check the spoiler for the correct answer. Final Fantasy... What? I don't get it. Okay, correct answer, 10,000 high-quality draconian potions. Wrong answer, I don't understand what's going on right now. Anyway, here's a couple of questions. I know I asked you about Elysium's recruitment process a while back, but now I'm curious if they have a medium core group. They have some medium core groups. They definitely do. A group that doesn't have crazy... Yeah, they exist. What you're saying right here definitely exists in Elysium. It's a matter of, do you qualify for it? Because there's still an expectation, I imagine at least, because I'm not in those groups, of you still being an exceptional player. Just not crazy amounts of time invested. 2, when did BG move to Gilgamesh? Did they? If they did it this last week, and I have heard nothing about that. There could also just be a branch of Blue Garter on Gilgamesh. I don't know, I haven't heard anything about BG being on Gilgamesh, but I've been really in Blade and Soul mode this last week, so I could have just missed out on it. So, I have no idea. Well, check it out. Let me know. Somebody let me know, because I have no fucking idea. Yeah. Next question on that note. Hey, Haps. First time asker, so here's a free set of Awoken upgrade items to get you 10. Yes! Yes! Anyway, I'll keep details to a minimum to not make this too long, but I wanted your advice on something. It's a little hard to type this, so bear with me. Feel free to skip over this if you feel like it would take too long. I just couldn't find a way to TLDR effectively. We did this before, let's do it again. Let's see if I need to skip this with how long it is. Alright, so I read the story. It wasn't too long of a story, but I figure I'll keep it TLDR. TLDR person is on one of the less populated servers. Their friends and the people that they got to know moved to Probably Gilgamesh. They server transferred. Now his free company doesn't have as many active people. So the questions themselves, and he also doesn't want to leave that free company, the houses that he has behind, like all the stuff that has been accumulated on the server that I don't know what it is. 1, am I right for feeling the way that I do? Doesn't want to get rid of the houses and whatnot, or should I put the past in the past? It's a game, ultimately. If you're not happy with where you are, if you even have to contemplate this, you have a choice. Wait till 3.2 to see what happens. That's as far as you need to go. A few, maybe a month into 3.2. If you're not happy then, and things just aren't panning out, then you move. You change servers. That's just all there is to it. I'd say you just can't hold onto it too much. You need to make sure you're having fun, and not just worried about all of just the past. You always got to be ready to move forward. You can't be stuck in the past. 2, what would you do in this situation? Pay to move servers with your friends? Oh, absolutely. In a heartbeat. That would be my first choice. I'm someone who you can't really ask me that question fairly, because you're someone who cares about the house and all that shit. I don't. The only house I care about is the one that my girlfriend bought, that we share. That is the hardest thing, and I had to leave that behind once, and it sucked, and I felt terrible about it. And that's why I made sure getting a house on the new server was a pretty big priority, because we needed to have something to be together. And that's, I feel like, way tougher. If it, back in 11, I would have moved in a heartbeat, because none of that stuff really mattered to me. But now it's a little bit like moving servers was tough for me, even going from Sargatanas to Gilgamesh. But I did what I had to do, you know what I'm saying, to make sure I was enjoying the game and having fun. So that's a pretty big thing. But if in your case, which is a lot different, I'd say trying to rebuild on a more populated server would probably be the best thing to do. And as you go about recruiting new members, you're using the right tactics. There's not enough people seeing it. You may need to go to places that have a larger general population. But if you're on one of these like medium population servers, there's a lot of clicks on those servers, so it's hard to break those clicks. You really have to go to like the low-level areas and recruit brand new players, as opposed to people who are long established. It's way harder to recruit those people than it is to recruit people who are brand new to the game and looking for a place to hang out. That might be the one change in approach that you need to do. Oh, and is that the last question? Thanks for reading this if you did. Of course. Thank you for asking a question, my man. Next question. Hello, Happy. Thanks for all the great content. Hey, thank you for watching it. You say it's great. I mean, I believe you, I guess. I don't ever think it's great. It's alright. I was listening to your State of the Realm unofficial Elysium Census. Was interested to get your opinion. For the Census, you noted it was hard to believe the difference in numbers of active level 60 players and finished 3.1 players. Do you think the problem in the Census was that the free login we had in December? I didn't think about how that might influence it. You know what? That's not a bad way to look at it. I hadn't even considered the free login month. It was only 4 days out of the month, but it was a month where people could have done that. That would have resulted in many players meeting the active definition used, but you're so right. Now I'm really curious. Now I'm really curious. Like, Lucky, at the end of this month, I need another one. Please, Lucky. I need more reliable information. So, yeah, man, now I'm fucking curious. I want to bring that up to slide this week, just to get his. Oh, I'm doing that. Whatever. My mind is blown right now. Thank you, because now I'm thinking hardcore. Next question. Hello, Mr. Happy. I'm finally going to stop lurking and give this a whirl. I see who you are. Have a world first kill. Thank you. I wish it was that simple. After a year of not having touched my ninja, I started to play at level while I work on my anima crystals. My ninja skills are rusty, so I thought I'd ask the First of all, I'm not an encyclopedia of ninjas. There's other great ninjas out there, like Farana, Shasta, Fold, like just to name a few. It's okay. Is it okay to clip Shadowfang and mutilate by 1 to 2 seconds? Yes, you should be doing that. You should be. That goes for almost every job in the game. You should be doing that. In your ninja video, you said to refresh Huton with Armor Crush once it reaches between 18 and 24 seconds. Yes. It is okay to refresh it at a higher duration. So here's why you don't usually refresh Armor Crush at a higher duration. Look at your opener. Your opener takes 20 to 23 seconds to initiate. So you're already at 50 seconds, right? So what happens is you go through your opener, and you're usually at about 31, 32 seconds when you get to, like, the end of your full opening rotation. Now, at this point, you can pretty much reliably get one more Aeolian Edge and then go into Armor Crush when you're between that 18 and 24 second mark. I think you do an Aeolian Edge, then another Shadowfang combo, then an Armor Crush combo. If you were to take that timing and do armor crush instead, you're basically losing an Aeolian edge, and that can happen to you multiple times over the course of the fight. That's why you wait till the lower point. Now obviously, no matter when you do it, it's a 30-second bonus, as long as you're not doing it over the 40-second mark, which loses, you know, uptime, because it's like, oh well, I did that 4 seconds before I needed to, I could have done a whole nother combo before that. It's still technically okay, but in your opener, and potentially in redoing your opener on any fight that has like a break between it, you could be potentially sacrificing an Aeolian edge every time, when you could just do it instead. Mid-fight, do you hold on to Blood for Blood and Internal Release for upcoming trick attack? If it lines up. You don't want to hold on to it too long. If it's going to cost you a Blood for Blood across the entirety of the fight, like if I don't pop this here, I won't have it like right at the end of the fight to push the final bit of DPS, then yes, it's okay. As long as it won't do that, you can hold on to them, especially if it's within like 10 seconds of each other. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to do that. Definitely. Who and when do you usually smokescreen? On A1, I actually smokescreen our Black Mage, because our tanks don't use tank stance in the entire fight, so the Black Mage needs my smokescreen. Otherwise, I usually use it on the healer. The White Mage, specifically before Shroud of Saints. Yeah, Shroud of Saints, because sometimes they just pull they just pull really high aggro, because again, our tanks don't use their tank stance as often. Also, Shade Walkering the tank in this case, so that way it's kind of like just making sure there's a pretty big gap between them. And thank you for asking all those questions. Those were good questions. Thank you. Next question. Subri, I would like to know your opinion on whether or not an off-tank warrior should keep alternating Path and Eye or go full deeps and alternate Butchers and Eye. It depends. If you really need that 10%, the Path is going to be the way to go. Like if you're like, guys, we keep dying there because there's just too much damage, it means you should have had Path on. Otherwise, you can kind of get away between going Eye Path, Butchers, but if you're going deeps, like Butchers is important, you need to be using it. So you definitely don't want to omit Butchers altogether. You path when you need to, and otherwise you don't have to do it. It's only if you really need that DPS reduction for any reason. So main tank is allowed to do more DPS combos instead of hate combos from the start. I mean, technically, if you have a ninja, no matter what. If your opener is the same, regardless of Eye versus Path. Gives healers potentially more cleric windows. It can. It also, as long as you're controlling the tank DPS, the 10% very rarely makes the difference that's like gonna prevent the healer from missing like an extra stone 3 or something. Also, you as a tank do more damage than the healer. Like honestly, the windows that you're opening may not even really exist because of other things that are happening in the fight. So you have to be sure that that's even a factor. Also, if we're talking about Berserk timing, you should absolutely be using Butcher's Block and not Path. You want to do as much damage in that Berserk window as possible. Less Ballad, that's not really a thing. Like that's a thing in progression. Like that's when you path is in progression, and even then you're still going to be putting Butchers in, but you don't just say no, I'm never using Butchers. Like you don't do that, trust me. So yeah, the 30 potency, it adds up. Also, you're talking about 30 potency, you're also talking about, you know, you got to consider maim, you got to consider deliverance, and that just adds up over the course of the entire fight. So just think about it that way. You really don't need to have full path forever. It's just important at certain times, and you need to be doing Butchers occasionally. You just can't omit Butchers from your combo and never do it. You know what I'm saying? That's the advice I have. That's the question, so that's my answer. Next question. Alright, Mush. I'm so confused. I'm assuming, how are you today? Hope you have a good time in Alexander 2. Smiley face. I like it. I figured out it was backwards. What's the weirdest area breaking glitch you've ever found, heard of, done? Okay, so right when Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn launched, there's a little cave in the southeast side of the Corthus Central Highlands that it's where you go for the Dragoon quest, and there's a few Ixali there. It's just east of the thing with the friggin' long name in the south side, south of Camp Dragonhead. There was a spot where you could jump up over the boundary of the game, go under the mountains in the entire world, and then just walk over to this like filler area in the back. Like you could reach past the edge of the map. And that was probably the weirdest thing I ever did. I reported it because I'm a responsible person. As much as I hate seeing things like that go away because it's fun to do occasionally, that was probably the biggest thing. The one inside of Alexander's Bubble is a more recent one, or going under the hinterlands, but that was definitely the biggest one, was the one in Corthus. And I have footage of that somewhere. I don't know where, though. It's been a long time since I've done it. Next question. Hi-yo, Mr. Happy. I'm sorry, I saw hi-ho and I had to do the Kermit voice. The FanFest. I want to go but never have. As someone who has, what is there to do? Well, first of all, this FanFest is not going to have the same attractions the last one did. First of all, this one's in the Paris, which is a bigger venue. And also, there's a lot more things content-wise that have come out. Last time we had the Extreme Primal Roulette, we had the Frontlines PvP, we had the Dungeon Speedrun Challenge, there was archery, there was a quest you could do to, you know, figure a bunch of things out. You could get stamps from all the different events. There was like a thing with like a Nerf gun or something, I don't remember. Then there was the Odin Challenge, there was the show stage with all the different panels, and this is probably, I'd imagine there's going to be more things here. Like, the Gold Saucer has come out since that event. If there's not something, like if I don't have a mini cactpot or a jumbo cactpot, I'm going to be really upset. Like the whole weekend, like a jumbo cactpot for like Alienware headset or something like that, or, you know, like and a full PC or something. And then the mini cactpot every day where you get like a mouse or a headset or something like that. Like that would be a nice thing to have. But I also imagine there's going to be another roulette. There's going to be probably more things like the archery event. It's bigger. I'm also hoping that the merchandise line isn't as much of a fiasco as it was last time. They had one credit card thing, so the line took like 5 hours to get through. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, because that would be horrible. I'm looking forward to it though. October, I'm going to be going to the NA one. Yes. Next question. Not a first-time poster, so no SO bonus, but I have a Gulkin Sundrop dance. A Gulkin Sundrop dance? That would... that's scary. Wandering off into RMT land, EVE Online. I don't know that. I don't know much about EVE Online. Mew knows a lot about EVE Online. The game itself is set in a hyper-free market, hyper laissez-faire universe where everything is for sale. Yeah, Mew's kind of kept me up to date on a lot of these things, and I've also watched some crazy battles. There was this one battle that cost people like $10,000 worth of ships and shit. Oh my god, that was insane. Thing is, near as I can tell, it worked out. It cut the economic legs out from under RMTs, because you could trade for game time rather than cash directly. It's become a lot more popular lately. What I'm wondering is if a similar system would work out in 14, as it could be done in a way that wasn't lore breaking. The RMT here have been so intrusive, I've simply disabled Whispers? Words. This sentence has destroyed my ability to word. I gather they've done yet another purge. Even every time they do a purge, they're always going to come back. Like, doesn't matter how many times they purge the accounts, they're always going to come back. Like, it's going to fucking happen. So thoughts on incorporating this into Final Fantasy XIV? I don't think it's a bad thing. The problem is when you, for me at the very least, when you can sell game time for gold. Like, ultimately, Square Enix gets paid. You either buy game time and use it for yourself, or you buy game time and sell it to other players for gold. And don't get me wrong, the reason why a lot of companies have picked this up is because this isn't uncommon to do in like black market kind of things. People do this, where they buy subscription time with gold, like, hey, buy me a game time card and I'll give you this. But it's pretty much RMT action. Like, that's pretty much what that is. But people do that anyway, so... I mean, if people are going to do it anyway, making it official is a way to ensure sort of control over that part of the economy and make sure that income actually, you know... It doesn't matter because people are doing it. So it's like, do you even need a system actually? I don't know. I don't like the idea of people just that's basically a way to buy gold. It's basically a fair way to buy gold. A gold gill. God damn it! I've been playing Blade and Soul too much. I stopped calling it gill. I called it gold. It's only been 3 days. Damn it. And that becomes a problem because then the economy just goes into fucking crazy flux with the people who have the money to do that. So it has its pros and its cons. I'm not really for the idea of doing it. I understand it happens anyway, but like, I'm not a fan of making it like a way of playing the game. I like the idea of spending gold to get game time. The problem is you can't just do that without selling people the game time to sell it to other people for gold, because otherwise you're just losing money as a company. It's unfortunate that that's how it has to be, but it's what it is. It's just what it is, and I'm not a big fan of it personally. Next question. By the way, we've only got like 2 or 3 questions left, so we're coming up towards the end of the video, guys. Hey, Habs, hope you get this question, man. Second time writing. Sorry, no bonus. Here it goes. I'm on Diablo server, and this friendly man, Wanderer Sabaku, has made this thing called the Promethean stage, where players get together to either act or watch others act on stage. It's pretty cool. I'm curious if your server has anything like that that you may know of. I don't know. There's a lot of great community events out there, and kudos to anyone setting things like this up, because a lot of people think, oh, just a stupid little event. No, it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of gall to put it out there, because people are going to make fun of you, but at the same time, you're going to get people who you legitimately share experiences with, and who are regulars, and who you get to know, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing in an MMO RPG community, is that sense of community. So there are events on Gilgamesh, there's like trivia things, and there's, you know, fashion shows, and stuff like that, but it's all in all other servers. I don't know. It's more common on servers with bigger role-playing communities, or more friendly communities, less hardcore raiding, more community. I know it's harder to raid on those servers, but they just have these little fun events that are always great, and I encourage people to keep putting them together, because I think they're cool. I think it's a good thing to do within the game itself, to set up these ways of having fun. And that's the whole point of a game, is to have fun. So have fun. You better have fun. Have fun. Hola, Mr. Happy. That was a really weird Spanish voice. I hope you're enjoying your new home. I am indeed, my friend. I'm working on my gathering and crafting. My gatherers are 60, almost done all crafters to 60, and I get the blue set in both cases. I have very little gil. Gathering, number 1. I have 26 red tokens. Should I get the main hand for one of the gatherers? Is there a better option? If you need the stats from that to do favors, then yes. If favors are selling frequently on your server, use them for that instead. You'll make gil. You just need to make sure you are capable of properly mining them, because otherwise it becomes a pain in the ass. Number 2, crafting. What would it be a good order to buy red? I don't know anything about red scripts for crafters. I haven't touched a crafter in Heaven's Ward other than desynthesis. I should not be the one answering this question. That's a question that's better suited for Ash or Mithri. Way better choices than me. And 3, yeah, specializations I probably shouldn't answer either. Any tips in choosing? The only one I know is like Culinarian and Alchemy are 2 really, really popular specializations. But I don't know. That's it. That's all I've heard. Like I said, I don't know anything about crafting. Just bottom line, because I don't do it. So again, those 2 resources would definitely be better for asking those kind of questions. Good evening, good sir. A few questions, shall we? I don't know why I keep doing this. Do you think Final Fantasy series should pander to its fans' nostalgia in its games, or use tools and foundations to make games that are more innovative? Long story made short, I have a friend who was complaining about how the series didn't make use of iconic things such as bosses, items, lore, while I actually like the fact that new releases aren't like the older ones. I'm the same. If I wanted to play those old games to pander to my nostalgia, I would go play those fucking games. They re-release every Final Fantasy game like every 2 years, so you can just keep buying it and they'll just keep making money from it. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. Like, let the past be in the past. Let them try to create something new, and open your mind up a little bit to new ideas and new gaming innovations. It doesn't always have to be this turn-based combat every fucking time. Let them experiment a little bit, and let them figure out ways that they can innovate, and not just say, well, whatever, they'll fucking buy it anyway. We'll just put it out every time, because that's what Call of Duty does. That's like what Call of Duty and like Battlefield. It's like, fuck it. You pick up the guns, they shoot people, they don't give a fuck. Just fucking push them out, guys. Come on. So if you want to see them basically be the Call of Duty of RPGs, then sure, fuck it. Then they can go back to that. Otherwise, let them innovate a little bit. How much of the sightseeing log have you done? The first 42. The first ones that came out when it launched. I haven't done the new ones yet. Any tips? In the north? Don't you just fly up to it? Can you not just fly up to it and land on it? No? Maybe. I don't know. That's what I would do. What is your best raid composition for damage? Right now, it's hands down Warrior, Dark Knight, Ninja Dragoon, Bard, Black Mage, White Mage, Scholar. Astro is great in place of the White Mage if you're really pushing for damage and they are a skilled Astro. That would be like hands down best fucking DPS composition. For handling mechanics, it doesn't matter. It's up to the players to do the mechanics, not the jobs. You know what I'm saying? Lastly, are you sad you won't get to see snow? No, fuck that. I hate snow. Snow sucks. I'm not 14 years old anymore, so snow is. I don't like the snow anymore. Fuck it. You know what it meant to me after 14? Fuck, I got a shovel. I don't want to do this shit. So no, I'm definitely not missing it. I think that was the last question. That was the last question. I didn't even realize it. Oh my goodness. Well, that was a good last question to end on. At least I realized it before cutting away. Anyway, thank you guys for your questions this week. Be sure to ask your questions for next week. In the description of the video, you can find a link to the Dream Network forums. You go there, you ask a question, sign up, ask a question, and I'll do my best to answer it next week. If it's super long, I ask that you add a TLDR in case I well, can't read the whole thing. You saw a lot of people do that in this episode, and I really do appreciate that, guys. So, on that note, I'm going to get going. Going to get this rendered, and we're going to make sure it's ready for tomorrow. But until then, guys, again, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out the videos again. Well, no, here. Is it here? Yeah, it's here. This somewhere, there's videos on this side of the screen. Yeah, be sure to check those out as well. And, well, looking forward to next week, guys. We're getting further and further into Mondays with Mr. Happy. We're going to get close to the 100th episode soon, man. That's crazy. We got to get into like 200s, 300s. Years of fun, guys. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next episode. So, until then, take care and avoid Mushin.